Nyní bych chtěla ještě představit našeho hosta, dalšího přednášejícího, a tím je pan Dominik Taroli. Pan Taroli pracuje v Estrii jako ředitel vývoje pro chytrá města, je jedním z tvůrců softwaru City Engine.
Dobrý i večer, my dear Czech friends. Was that correct? Dobrý i večer? Yeah. Good evening. Good. Welcome to my workshop, The Future of Smart Cities and Digital Twins. And you guys here in Prague are truly amazing. I mean, it's almost 6 p.m. and you guys are still going strong. So therefore, I will promise you this will be a lot of exciting and fun content about smart cities and digital twins. And before we dive in the workshop, I suggest that we get to know each other a little bit better. So first question, can you please raise your hand if you work for a city? Got it, that's about 20% of us. Can you please raise your hand if you work for academia, so university students? Oh, that's great, almost 40%. And can you please raise your hand if you work for a company, commercial entity? Do we have any? Good, 10%. Oh, I see over there as well. Good, that's great. So now that I know you a little bit better, I would like to invite you to my living room. And as you can see and hear, I'm originally from Switzerland, but since over 10 years I live now in beautiful and sunny California. So when I arrived here it was a little bit colder, so I came from sunny California, and back in Switzerland I was actually a co-founder of a startup that was selling city building software to Hollywood movie studios. So it was City Engine. We got acquired in 2011 by Esri, and the software was used for a lot of Hollywood movies. I don't know if you know Zootopia or Cars 2 or Independence Day, Superman, Batman, Game of Thrones, and so on. So in 2011 we sold that company to Esri, and since then I have the honor and privilege to lead smart cities on a global basis for Esri in beautiful Redlands, California, the headquarters of Esri. So you also see there James Bond and Gene Simmons from the rock band Kiss. Do we have any Kiss fans or James Bond fans? Can you please raise your hand? A few, nice, nice. I like that. So if part of my story is also I was part of a James Bond movie, Quantum of Solace, and we might have some time after the workshop to get into it. That was a really fun experience, but right now we actually have to speed up. I know it's already 6 p.m. and everybody wants to go in the forum and have some snacks and beer, so let's get started, and we have a lot of content to cover. But first things first, we want to talk about digital twins and smart cities. But what is actually a smart city, right? We could spend the next 45 minutes just talking about that. So, but the fun thing, it's really interesting if we actually go to some of the most famous search engines like DuckDuckGo, Google, or Bing. We always get this kind of similar picture back. So you see here at DuckDuckGo a shining city with some connected or shiny bubbles over the city. It all looks very futuristic with a lot of blue light and hardly any green spaces. So that's not really helpful. And AI has to help here, that's right. So let's ask ChatGPT or their image generator DALL-E. So to create a picture of a smart city, but no luck here as well. Same kind of picture, buildings with a lot of bubbles and connected lines over the city. Again, this is not really helpful. Again, with AI, it's not really helpful as well. We have the same kind of picture. Therefore, in this workshop, I would like to take you on a journey around the world to experience what smart city really is and how also it can change the world. Then I would like to explore and show you different cities, how they solve their big questions with smart city technology. And finally, let's have some fun and do some time travel about the future of smart city. But before we got started, I want to tell you actually a story. And the story takes place in my hometown, St. Gallen in Switzerland. So St. Gallen is located over 600 kilometers westward from Prague. I guess that's in this direction, right? So, and it's right in the heart of Europe. So St. Gallen has a population of about 75,000 people, which means it's already the 8th largest city in Switzerland. And the main tourist attraction in St. Gallen are the Abbey of St. Gall. This is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And the Abbey's renowned library contains books from the 9th century. And people in St. Gallen really love soccer, and their local soccer team is called FC St. Gallen. It's one of the oldest soccer team in the world, founded April 19th, 1879. Do we have any soccer fans here in the room? Sparta Prague fans? No? One? Oh, there are 2 teams. I'm very sorry. Do we have any other soccer fans in here from Slavia Prague? So it's 2-1, so you have to be careful here. Okay. Good. Then I go on. And let me tell about St. Gallen. St. Gallen has the world's best bratwurst. And it's called the St. Galler or the Olma bratwurst. And the St. Galler bratwurst is so perfect, you are not allowed to eat it with ketchup or mustard. So if you do that, they kick you out of the city. So it's that good and delicious that you can eat it without ketchup or mustard. It hasn't been a role model for progress or innovation. So what you see here on the left side is a picture from 1912, and then on the right side from 2012. And it's the statue of Vadian, one of the city's biggest reformer, right in the heart of St. Gallen. And you see here not a lot of changes, right? And it's really difference of 100 years. Here another example from the city center. And again, on the left side, a picture from 1912, and then on the right side from 2012. Basically the same, right? And since good things comes in 3, one last comparison. In this picture, you can see on the right side St. Gallen City Hall, and the main transportation hub of the city, the train station. And again, 100 years apart, but not a lot of changes. But when I visited my hometown recently, I saw the following. This is right in front of the train station. A wall with some blue dots, crosses and squares. Has anybody here in Prague an idea what this is? It's not an Xbox, I can promise you. So what this is it's a binary, large-scale electronic clock to indicate the time of the day in 3 lines, in hours, minutes, and seconds. So let me give you an example. How is this actually working? So vertically, we have the hours, minutes, and seconds, and then horizontally we have 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, and 1. So what you see here is 8 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1, which equals 15. Then the second line, when we count the minutes, we get 24 minutes, and then finally 44 seconds in the third line. So that makes it 15, 24, 34, or for my US friends, if we have any here, 3 p.m., 24 minutes and 44 seconds. Can you imagine how impressed I was about my city to see how advanced they were with time? But then I was further impressed. Just steps away from this binary clock, I found this. A huge digital interactive city map with a big touch screen, right, where the tourists leave the train or bus and start their journey in St. Gallen, and the map highlights like points of interest, restaurants, shopping malls, even with walking time. And the map can be updated at any point in time in case of changes or addition via the web. But St. Gallen had one last surprise in store. So public transportation, as here in Prague, is essential in St. Gallen, and at each bus stop there is a digital board displaying in real time information about buses, their status, and alternative connection. So passenger can even buy the tickets via mobile app. I think that's standard today, but that was already great. So I was really impressed about my hometown's adoption of smart city features and still keeping the traditional way how they are looking. And it seems they were really on the way to becoming a smart city. In our daily work with cities all over the world, we experience that cities, but especially the smart cities, are entering a new phase. An era where cities have to understand and define their new purposes. So therefore, the smart cities of the future are those who are connected and engaged with the people who call it home. And we need more and more cities because we are facing challenging times. Why? So we all want connected, inclusive cities, but rents in cities have risen faster than incomes, while every single night thousands of people are still sleeping on our streets. And we all want urban mobility, but in reality we spend just countless hours in traffic, and we all want to be safe. But in cities we are 250% more likely to be victim of a crime. So we are all challenged to do more with less, and especially in cities, they are facing these unprecedented pressures and complexities. Just think about the population boom, the digital revolution, security, healthcare, energy, waste management, and so on. And then on the other side, the requests and the demands, they are always increasing. More policies, more requests, more work. And the city is very thinly spread and always required to do more with less. And we see two main factors with this dynamic that will just get worse. Number one, buildings are becoming data, and second, people are becoming sensors. And the pandemic has basically accelerated this development massively due to work from home, homeschooling, social media use, tracking, tracing, and so on. And there is this unbelievable amount of data that is produced by us daily. And I showed you the stats earlier in my first presentation in the main room. But over 15 years, we have had a 9,000% growth of data. Now, do you remember when we started our workshop here with the question, what is a smart city? And our experience shows that the most advanced cities in the world still have a long way to go in just building the fundamentals of a smart city, which means there is a lot of upside potential for every city in the world. And we also know that every city in the world strives to be livable. People really like the freedom, but also data privacy. Safety is a very big topic. How can we prevent crime? But then also well-run, for example, faster emergency response time, then also healthcare, which can be leading into a resilient and prosperous community. Now at Esri, and I also showed that slide before, we approach smart cities with an integrated approach with 4 pillars. It's very simple. Number one, a smart city starts with smart planning that adapts to change. Pillar number 2 is a well-run operation with good government service. So a smart city don't want to waste hard-earned tax money. Number 3 is data-driven performance, so that we can use data and analytics. And last but not least, and this is becoming more and more important, civic inclusion. So the smart cities of the future are engaged directly with the people who call it home. And we see that it's becoming more and more a top priority, especially for smart cities. Now you might ask yourself, I get it, times are getting tougher, data velocity increased, and this 4-pillar makes sense. But what are some hard facts or tangible benefits of a smart city? And glad you ask. According to the research of the McKinsey Global Institute, smart cities that are using data and technology to make better decisions can save lives, have fewer crimes, decrease traffic, are more sustainable, and have a whopping 25 to 35 faster emergency response time. But on top, the research also shows when cities function more efficiently, they also become more productive places to do business, which at the end of the day means more wealth and more tax money for the city. So it's all about creating the communities that we want to see and live in. Now, how can a smart city help to define it? And it's actually quite simple. A smart city has the ability through data and technology to answer, number one, the difficult questions, to answer the big questions, and to answer the small question often and repeatedly. Now let's go quickly to the 3 questions, and I would like to give you for each of the questions some example from smart cities around the world. So let's get started with the very difficult questions. And I think that people not only from Prague are very interested in what long-term land use and policy changes could optimize traffic. Now let me take you on a virtual travel to the city of Gothenburg in Sweden. So Gothenburg is the 2nd largest city in Sweden with about 600,000 people, and you can see here a beautiful picture of their digital twin or smart city, which is based on a workflow with ArcGIS City Engine and the game engine Unreal. Is anybody here using Unreal for their purpose? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's good. That's good. So the level of detail that you can achieve with Unreal is just amazing. And on the left side you have this picture, and then on the right side you have the actual digital twin. Now let's watch a short video about the main use cases of Gothenburg. Good, just amazing work, and they're further developing their digital twin, and it's amazing to see what kind of development and progress they're making. Next up is SCAG. SCAG stands for Southern California Association of Governments, and it's the largest metropolitan planning organization in the US, comprised of 6 counties, 191 cities, and home to over 18 million residents. One of them, that's me. I'm right up there in San Bernardino County, where Esri is also located. And that means that almost half of the entire population of California lives in a SCAG region. So the big challenge that SCAG has is to bring local and regional planning efforts together to answer those difficult questions in a holistic and collaborative way. Now, in the past, local jurisdictions, even the smaller ones, they were really struggling to update their plans in a timely manner because of the lacks of tools, resources available to them. But now, by adopting and implementing and promoting smart city system, including technology and data, they created a a regional data platform, as you can see here on the slide. What was before a long and tedious process is now streamlined, and they can literally do more with less, as we discussed before. Another trend that could help with traffic are drones. I just had breakfast with a venture capitalist, and I can tell you they're all interested to make traffic much more easier, and one element will also be drones. Do we have any drone pilots here in the audience? Can you please raise your hand? 1, 2, 3. Wow, that's a lot of drone pilots. Okay, that's really good. So drones are really interesting to transport goods and reduce traffic, especially on that last mile. And on the other side, you don't want to have drones all over the city, right? Because they can be very irritating and even dangerous in some areas. So again, pillar number 1 is smart city starts with smart planning, and you definitely want and need to understand how drones will and can impact your city. After the difficult question, let's go to the big questions. I'm sure you're also very much interested how a smart city can best protect people and create resilient communities. The first example here is a collaboration between Esri and Esri's partner Presagit, with again the help of the Epic Games a game engine. And this is an urban mobility scenario to evaluate emergency or tactical response scenarios. So let's watch the short video. Great. The next example is from Esri's partner Housel Levine. Let me start the video right. So for the town of Morrisville, which is a community at the east coast of the United States, located in North Carolina in the Research Triangle. So the development of a town center had been a major point of contention for nearly 15 years. So town official then engaged Housel Levine to prepare an immersive 3D model of the town center and developed some scenarios. And the idea here is really that regular citizens can understand a new development before it's even created. They can then immerse themselves, experience different scenarios, and voice their opinion. And the unofficial comments of a citizen called it the best money the town has ever spent. With that solution, the town of Morrisville found an unanimous solution for the development of the town center. And I talked with Jiri here from IPR about wearing goggles, and we both agreed that it's not always like the best scenario, or it's not always needed, but in some cases it really can bring some advantages. Now let's move on to answering small questions often. And if I say small here, it's not in context of the importance, but in the context of the perspective. The question is based on an individual level. And this is really becoming crucial for almost every smart city in the world. So how can a smart city benefit from the wisdom and experience from the people who actually live in the city? And for my next example, we travel back to my hometown, St. Gallen again. So the city of St. Gallen has created a data portal or data hub where the public can engage and interact with the city. And what you see here on the screen is a new development where citizens can comment about the plans and voice their opinions. Very simple, but also very, very effective, and a lot of engagements here. And my final example is from New York, and this is a really exciting one. So it's from Esri's partner In Situ, and they have developed augmented reality app that brings the future city to life to foster collaboration around the process of urban change. And this is an alternative. Instead of wearing goggles, they're basically using their smartphone and then can just basically zoom around and see which buildings are planned. But let's watch that video, right? And I need sound for that again. Thank you.
I think I'm going to keep this in my pocket, and whenever I'm walking around the area, kind of see if there are buildings around. I live in the neighborhood, so this was a really novel experience for me. These are streets that I wouldn't have walked on usually, so it was really cool to try it out and go to different areas and see what they look like in augmented reality as well.
The changes and evolution that this neighborhood are happening kind of in real time and generate some interest for people, but also like care about their cities. Maybe it's like another step to really bring things closer and the future of it, whether their opinions, whatever, and just start having them and be more like active and participating in the future of that for everyone.
It's really cool to see augmented reality in a real world and seeing how buildings are going to be coming here to Brooklyn. It was very fluid and very easy to look at, especially as we're walking. You can use the app to see all the future projects that are growing, and being able to just click on the project and see it pop up and view it in real time. I thought it was really great. You can see how detailed it is, how big it's going to be, and even though there's a building right in front of it, the new building that's supposed to surround it it looks very realistic.
Yeah, the important part is that it lines up right over the places, comparing to like having, maybe it's a photo with the Photoshop on it. Like it's a little bit different because you get to walk around and you feel like the people walking around you and you're in this neighborhood physically, and that's like something you can't get from looking at a photo on the website.
So the great thing here is really the ease of use, and you've seen it was a very diverse group, and everybody just could take the phone and basically scan around and have then a conversation about it. And that's what we are looking for, to really connect and collaborate and then starting a discussion in it. Now, since we have answered all the questions, let's have a peek into the future of smart cities and have some fun together. So the good thing is that the future will be very beautiful and bright, as you can see here in this 3D scene of Boston. And one thing that immediately catches your eyes is the photorealistic visualization of the city and the reflection of the water that increases this realism of the 3D scene. And by the way, when I say scene, this means everything you're seeing here was recorded in a web browser and don't have to be rendered in a high-powered desktop computer. And since our world is in 3D, smart cities of the future will have beautiful 3D city models based on high-resolution imagery. And we're spending over 90% of our time indoors, right? Therefore, smart cities of the future will also incorporate indoor rooms, so that you can explore the city outdoors as well as indoors. Furthermore, the smart cities of the future are not only pretty, but also very smart. So with the smart cities model, you can integrate data sets, run analytics, and highlight trends or specific attribute. You can even go underground to better understand and coordinate the whole city. And again, one of the most requested features these days really to integrate all sorts of data, like I showed in my presentation early. And by the way, GIS is this great system of record for all your floor plan, but it doesn't stop there. You can even integrate real-time data so that you can understand in real time what is going on in your city while you're respecting the privacy and the freedom of your citizen. And the smart city of the future will help you with planning and designing your city so that you can understand the impact of a plan before it's even built. And once you are done with your design, you can add more detail to the city model, like the very detailed streets or trees. And once you're ready to share it with the public, you can use game or real-time engine like this Twinmotion to make Hollywood-like visualization with the push of a button. And speaking of real-time and game engine, and in this R&D project we can pull planning and design content right into a game or real-time engine. And in the first step you can have a tabletop experience to understand the context of a new project. Then you can immerse yourself in the scene and understand a new design with different factors, like for example changing weather with the push of a button. But one thing that is becoming more and more important are visibility factors. So you can immerse yourself in the scene and understand the different views. Like for example here, what's this view on the balcony? Then when we are going back to the tabletop, we can really understand different developments that are going on in the city. Once we have selected a project and we can explore it a little bit more, we can virtually jump ourselves in virtual reality. We can even animate the scene with people, cars. You can even see the wind blowing through the street. But it's not only visual but also factual. So we can pull in all the data and understand then the impact of a new development right into this virtual scenario. Again, the future is not only beautiful but also very smart. And one last thing I want to highlight here is the metaverse. So the metaverse is basically combines now different cities or application so that we can co-create and collaborate with all kind of stakeholders in real time, 3D, and in a seamless way. And one such metaverse platform, I'm sure you have heard about this, is Omniverse from NVIDIA. So what you see here is Esri's ArcGIS City Engine, and we are now changing the height of a building. With the push of a button we can export it out to the NVIDIA Omniverse, and you can see that the data is automatically, almost in real time, changing as well, so that other stakeholders can further use and refine the data. And this is brand new, but a very interesting capability that you definitely should be aware of. Now we talked what a smart city is, we talked about different examples around the world, and we even covered the future of smart cities. Now what? What and can you should do after this presentation? And based on everything that I've experienced with cities all over the world, I truly believe that ArcGIS is a great foundation for smart cities. ArcGIS is a comprehensive geospatial system that can integrate all kinds of data like tabular, vector, raster, 3D, voxels, meshes, and so on. And once you have this foundation, you can stand out different applications and make them available and usable across the city. And since we're now at the end of the presentation, allow me to tell you one last story about my hometown of St. Gallen and how they started their smart cities journey. So in one of my keynotes, I knew that the mayor of the city of St. Gallen was in the audience. Therefore, I challenged the mayor about their smart cities and digital twin progress, as you can see here on the slides. And since St. Gallen has a fantastic mayor, a great smart woman by the name Maria Papa, she accepted the challenge, invited me for a lunch with what would you guess? With a St. Gallen bratwurst. See, no mustard or ketchup allowed in her office. And we started a conversation about how St. Gallen can even become a more livable and smarter city. And they are well on the way, and as you could experience in this presentation. So what I would humbly suggest for all of you is really start with the conversation. What are your big and difficult questions that you would like to have answers, and what are day-to-day operational tasks that you would like to streamline? And I already started with some of you, so I was very privileged and honored to spend some time with the IPR here in Prague, and I would like to continue that discussion with all of you. And I know also that the fantastic people from ArcData Prague are more than happy also to start with you this discussion. And second, and I prepare especially for you some of the most valuable resources around smart cities. So just go to bit.ly/checkuc or scan the QR code with your smartphone right now. Are you still with me? Good. That's all I have, and I'm looking forward to answer your questions here or afterwards in the forum. Dekui, and thank you very much for all your energy, friendliness, and have now a great further evening. Thank you so much.